You've had obviously a week almost to reflect on last week's heavy defeat. What's been the main focus for you really this week at Finch Farm?
The first thing was to analyze why, after winning 2-1, we could concede in the way that we concede. So we are thinking what were the mistakes and how to change that, how to improve that. And then apart from that, it's just start working on these issues.
You seem to miss Abdoulaye Doucoure in midfield. What's the update on his progress?
Yeah, the reality is that we are missing some players, some important players, nearly from the beginning, and the team was coping with that quite well. But Doucoure was doing really well in the middle of the pitch, and then to lose him for these games is always important for any team. So if you talk about even the top side that they have bigger squads, if you lose some key players, you suffer a little bit. So Doucoure is getting better. It seems that he's progressing well. So I cannot say how long exactly, but at least a couple of weeks. So with the international break, hopefully after he will be fine. And yes, it's a big miss for us, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for other players to show their level.
How do you restore belief and confidence following that type of defeat? It sort of saps morale, doesn't it? A situation like that.
Yeah, the main thing is to be sure that we stick together as a team. We are compact, and then the easiest way will be winning the next game. So it's as simple as that. But I'm not sure that the Wolves will not agree with me. So we will try to be sure that we are as competitive as we have been during the rest of the season.
And what about you personally, Rafa? Did you feel a little more pressure hearing those fans at the final whistle? There were quite a few boos around the stadium at Goodison last weekend.
Yeah, football is very emotional, so then you can understand the frustration. I was really disappointed after the game, so I think that you can understand the frustration of the fans. And then what we have to do, my job is to be sure that we analyze what was going on and we try to find the solutions. We are working on that, and it's just part of the job. And after so many years, I used to do it.
And just one more from me around Richarlison. Obviously, he was introduced as a substitute last weekend. Is he ready to start now? He seems the type of player that you really need at the moment.
Yeah, he's getting better, so has been training well during the week. Still, we have a couple of training sessions. We will see how much he can improve. But in terms of mentality, yes. In terms of his fitness, it will not be 100%, but it's getting better. So I have confidence that maybe he can start, and confident that for sure he will give us something.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. We'll go to Adam Cottier at Premier League Productions, please.
Good afternoon, Rafa.
Hi, afternoon.
Just on Richarlison, what do you think he brings to the Everton team? How does he impact the side?
If you think about the top scorers last year, he was one of the top scorers. So he's someone that can play well, has the ability to beat players and can score goals. So enough things for a team that always is good for anyone to score goals. So then when you have a player that has been doing so well last year and is a key player for you, and then it was good for us at the beginning of the season, then you can miss him or you can be really pleased, and it can be a big boost for the team if he's coming back and scoring goals like the other day.
Just on Wolves, they've taken 10 points from 12. They've won 3 of the last 4. How dangerous do you think they are as a team? How would you describe their style under Bruno Lage?
I think they're, I would say, maybe coming back to 2 years ago, the way that they were playing with under Nuno. So they have pace, they have ability, they have a system that they know quite well, and they have some good players. So I think it will be quite dangerous. And as you say, they are doing well in the last games, but they were doing well also in terms of playing, creating chances in the first games. They were not scoring, and they were losing games, but still they were quite dangerous, and now they have better balance and they're doing well. So will be very dangerous for sure.
Might you have to change your system? Obviously, a lot of teams play with a back three. Is that in your thinking, perhaps?
No, we have been working on the 4 at the back at the moment, and then with this idea, we have been working during the week. So you never know. Before the game, still we have 2 training sessions, but at the moment we are working with this idea.
Just one final one for me, Rafa. It'll be your 350th Premier League game as a manager. There's only Wenger and Mourinho who have been in charge more times in the Premier League. Have you got any thoughts on that?
I didn't know. So, but normally you count but I don't count the games, but someone will count the games that you have been in charge, not just in the Premier League, so a lot of them. And it's fine, it's good to have some good numbers, but I will be happier if we can celebrate with 3 points.
Best of luck, Rafa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. We'll go to Mike Hughes at Radio Merseyside, please.
Hi there, Rafa.
Hiya.
By and large this season, the defending has been good, and I'm sure you would have been impressed by that. But towards the end of last week, 4 goals in 15 minutes, it was chaotic. How do you go about sort of the restoration of the sort of defensive solidity that you've had for much of the season? Because confidence would have been lost amongst the players. Was it a lack of discipline? Was it more than that?
Yeah, I think I said before, I was frustrated because we were not expecting that. No, when you can make a mistake, you can lose against West Ham because they are good at set pieces, and then you made a mistake and then they score. Fine. You had your chances, you couldn't take your chances, then you take the chance and you lose the game. But in this case, we were winning. So after scoring the second goal, with Richarlison coming back, with the fans behind the team, everything was positive. To concede in the way that we concede is what I say in the first question. So you try to analyze what was going on, and you try to explain your players, you try to be sure that it will not happen again. But still is difficult because you don't have time. If you go, and we have had this situation during this season, you go at half-time, team talk, and then more or less you adjust things. But you didn't have time in this case, and was too soon. And then, okay, we need to have some experience after that and be sure that cannot happen again.
2 goals conceded from set pieces last week. I know you've always been an advocate of zonal marking. From the perspective of players being in the right position and responsibility for their particular zones, and just from the perspective as well as how difficult zonally when players are standing still, it still appears to be really difficult to cope with the player attacking the ball, coming in from, making a run 10 yards, and just purely from the physics of it.
Yeah, but I think it's so many years that when I came here in 2004, we're doing zonal marking and people were criticizing the system. The year after and 2 years after, we were the best team defending set pieces with the zonal marking. It's just how you do it. And as you say, if a player is coming running against you, then you have to react. So the main thing for us is to be sure that we attack the ball and we show some character when we have to challenge. And we're not doing that. So it's not that just the zonal marking, because if it's man-to-man, they block your defender and could be a man free with more chances or more space. So I think it's a question of how to defend and show character and the aggression that you have to show in these situations to defend a corner or a free kick or whatever.
Anthony Gordon put in a really good performance last weekend, heavily involved in the first goal as well. I know you took him off towards the end, and you said that at the moment he doesn't have the physical capacity to be playing 90 minutes. How close is he getting to that? How long will it take? Because, you want to keep your better players on the field, don't you?
Yeah, don't forget that he was on loan last year, and I was keeping him here because I could see the potential. So I'm the first one that is playing the boy, and I'm really pleased with his attitude and his commitment in every training session and during the game. Apart from that, you have to make decisions, and then I thought that could be a good option. and that's it. We put Richarlison on the pitch, and Richarlison scored the second goal. So then it's not about individuals; it's about the team. Anthony is working hard and is getting better. And if you ask him, he will say that he's fine and he can play 90 minutes for sure. What he has to say, because he's a Premier League player at the moment. And then I'm really pleased with him, and hopefully he can play 90 minutes in a lot of games since now until the end of the season. But my job is to be sure that he will play well a lot of games, and not just put them on the pitch and then just see what happens. So I want to be sure that he's improving, he's progressing, and he will be a much better player at the end of the season.
Thanks, Mike. We'll
Thank
go
you.
to Carl Markham at the Press Association, please.
Hi, Rafa.
Hiya.
You said earlier your first job was to analyse and then find a solution to last weekend. I'm just wondering what your analysis for those last 15 minutes told you.
That I said before that we did really bad. So that is the first analysis. And
Why?
Why is very clear. So we didn't win the tackles. We were in bad positions. We didn't attack the ball when we have to defend. So too many things that you put them together. We were in a bad position when we we conceded the second goal, and then after that we were in bad positions. 2 or 3 players in a situation that we cannot be exposed in this way. So I think it's something that they can understand. Maybe it's not the most difficult thing to correct. Not the initial position is more difficult to correct when the ball is in movement and you have to tackle, and then you have to be sure that you are strong enough. Is when you have to. It depends on each player and the character and the characteristic of each player. But there are some principles that we have to do well, and we have to go back to the basics. To be fair, we did it really well in a lot of games, because we were reacting against Southampton, we were reacting against Burnley, so the team shows character. We play against Manchester United, and the team was showing this right mentality that the fans love. But in this case, we made too many mistakes in a row, and then we conceded too many goals.
Just quickly for me, any improvements on the team use situation? Anybody like to be back for Monday? Else?
Still we have 2 training sessions, so some of them are just nearly coming back, but I think it's too early to say who will be there. We are waiting for some medical assessments, and after we will see if someone else can come back.